Welcome everyone. Let's get started. I'm going to get started right away, okay? We have no time. We have to move as fast as we can. So can you write energy, chapter 19, okay? Energy and feeding relationships. We're doing part 2 now of what we had started in the last lesson. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about food webs and food chains, and we saw a few things. Today I want to move on to the next part of that. Are you ready, everybody? Guys, are you ready? Yeah, we want to go to the part 2 of it. So write the date. Say 21 May. We have a lot. I want to move through a lot of things, okay? I'm going to move through a lot of. Let me just make sure that the attendance is being taken down as well. Okay, so right to say 21 May. Right to say 21 May quickly, and then 2026. Then you're going to say chapter 19. Then you say organisms. Say organisms. And I'll be moving as fast as I can. We have a lot of things to cover. I told you that I'm going to try and finish a topic in 2 lessons. So we'll see. If we can't finish, then we should be left with not too many things to do. Okay? In organisms and their environment. Okay? Environment. And I want you to put in brackets to say part 2. I want you to quickly write to say part 2. Chapter 19. Organisms and their environment. Say part 2. Right. Have you written it? Everybody, quickly write it. Give me a second. I'm getting a call. one of the most important parts of how we do our things is that we don't just do everything, we understand first, okay? So look at what I'm doing. Here are the things. So let me share. We know that biology is 21 chapters, and we are focusing on chapter 19, organisms and their environment, right? So I know that at school right now, a lot of you are doing between chapter 16 and 21. These are the topics that most of you are doing. Inheritance, where you talk about genes and stuff, which I'll revise with you. Okay, we did talk about it, but I'm going to revise with people as well to make sure all of you understand and all of you are good at that chapter. So these are big chapters. Chapter 16, actually, chapter 13, then you jump. Okay, chapter 13 and 14, then you jump to chapter 16. Okay, drugs is quite small. Then you do 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. These are big topics that if you know you're getting a lot of marks in the exam. So right now the one we are doing is 19. We want to try and quickly finish it. And remember, I'll be doing each lesson in only two. I'll be doing each topic in only 2 lessons. Okay, so I'll be moving extremely fast. So all of you will be fine because we don't have time. So I'll try to push. Today we are doing chapter 19 and we're going to try and finish it or get almost towards the end of it. Then we're going to do chapter 20 in 2 lessons, 21 in 2 lessons as well. And those who missed chapter 17, I'll share with you the videos, and chapter 18, and also anything you need from me, you can always send, then I'll make a video for you. Does everybody understand what is going on? Students, are you all seeing this? Hello? Can you all see? Yes. You have to be very, very good at understanding what's going on. Okay, don't ever be lost because you're going to lose energy and you start hating school. And I don't want that to happen. So we're doing chapter 19, part 2. So I'm now going back to the board. Everybody has seen 19 out of 21, which is organisms and their environment. So let's find out what we need to know. I'm giving you the content right now, okay? I'm giving you the content. So just write with me as fast as you can. I'll be explaining as I'm moving fast. So write chapter 19, organisms and their environment, and say part 2. If you haven't done this at school, you're doing it very soon. So you might as well just quickly go through it with me because I'll be finishing in like a day. So that's good for you. By the time you do it at school, you know what's going on. So everybody, write this with me and let's get started. We are now going through part 2 of this chapter, and I want to explain some things that I'd kind of mentioned them in the last lesson, but now I'm going to be covering them with you. Okay? Last time I got to explain, you get back to the notes and you check what a food web was, what does interdependence mean, what is a food chain, and then what was the most important thing from that lesson was for people to understand the primary consumer, secondary consumer. You start from producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, and quaternary consumer. Usually, a food chain is only up to 5 animals long. So food chain shows you the direction that energy travels. So you start at someone, then he is eaten by someone, then this thing eats that, then this eats that, then this eats that, until you have the whole chain. Now we are moving on to something completely different, and we are going to be talking about what we call pyramids of numbers. So let's start. The first thing we're going to do right now is pyramids of number. I'm going to teach you 3 pyramids, and I'm going to explain to you why you need to know them. So write with me as fast as you can, and I'll be explaining pyramids of number. Pyramids of number. So there are things that the syllabus wants you to know. There are things that the syllabus wants you to. It wants you to know that there are things you should know when you're dealing with the food chain. Things are not always equal in a food chain. What things are not always equal? There are 3 pyramids which you're going to study. One is number, the second one is biomass, then the third one is energy. What we will be trying to study is, if we are doing pyramids of number, we are trying to see in a food chain, okay, not a food web, but just a food chain. In a food chain, as you go from animal to animal, right? Remember, when you go from animal to animal, it means you're moving from one tropic level to another. Let's say you do grass. Then from grass, you go to mouse or whatever. Then from mouse, you go to owl. As you follow like this, Okay, we want to know how much grass do we have, then how many mice do we have, then how many owls will we have.
Are they going to be the same? 15 grass plants, 15 mice, 15 owls. No, that's not what happens. So a pyramid will be telling you, if it's a pyramid of number, it is showing you how the numbers are going to change as you move from one trophic level to the next. Because this is a producer. That's the trophic level. This is a producer. Then this is the primary consumer. The first animal, the animal that eats producer is called primary consumer. Then this is the secondary consumer. So, okay, sir, I now know that the first is producer, then the second is primary consumer, then the third is secondary consumer. Thank you for making me know that. But is that what I'm supposed to know when we are now dealing with pyramids? No. Now what we're going to give you, we're just going to, it's simple stuff. Don't make it complicated. We're just going to show you a pyramid for you to actually understand that the numbers are not the same. So we want to see, when we come from grass to mice to owls, are we going to have the numbers getting smaller as we move, or the numbers getting bigger? What happens? Because this is a pyramid of number. When we get to the pyramid of biomass, we want to understand what happens to the size. Who is bigger? Is the producer the biggest thing? Or does it get smaller as you move? To say the producer, or does it get bigger as you move? The producer is small, then the primary consumer is a small animal, then the secondary consumer is a larger animal, then the tertiary consumer is a larger animal. So we'll be talking about size here. We're going to do a pyramid which helps you know what happens to the size as you move. Here we want to know what happens to the number as we move. So let's write. Do you understand what the pyramid is? If it's a pyramid of number, it is telling you what happens to the number of these things as we go from level to level. So in our pyramid, we expect to see grass. In our pyramid, we expect to see mice. In a pyramid, so it's something like this, or it could be something like this. This is the smallest, which would be grass. Then the other one is going to be larger. Then this would be mice. Then the other one is larger. Ooh, what happened? Wait, let me fix that. Let me fix that part. Give me 1 second. Sorry for that, everybody. Let me fix it so you can see my screen again. Okay, this is now, can you all see my screen nicely? Okay. So now, so what are pyramids? You say to me, if somebody asks you, what are pyramids in this chapter? You say there are 3 types of pyramids. And all we are trying to study is, how do certain things change when we go from animal to animal to animal, from trophic level to the next trophic level? How do they change in that? So there are 3 types of pyramids, and they are just telling us how things change when you move from one level to another level to another level. We are seeing how things change. That's the pyramid. How the numbers change, then we are going to see how the energy changes, then we are going to see how the size changes. And you're done. We go to the next thing. So let's start. Pyramids of number. Let's see how the numbers change. Do they get bigger? Do they get smaller? Let's write. Are you ready? Write this. A pyramid of numbers. A pyramid of numbers shows the numbers of organisms. Okay, I've already told you, I'm just giving you to write in case you start forgetting, so you can be able to go back. So the numbers of organisms at each trophic level. At each trophic level. Okay, at producer level, how many do we have? Whatever, and in a food chain. Okay, in a food chain. The numbers of organisms. Then pyramid of biomass tells us the size. Okay, so the width, basically,
the width, just like I told you, that there is going to be a bar which could be thick, then one which is less in width than the other one which is less in width. So this one which has a big width, this very low, the lowest one, what does it mean? Because it could be like this. Okay, it could be the one with the smallest width, then we could have a slightly larger one, then we could have the largest one on top like this. So what does width tell us if it's a pyramid of size?
So that we can be able to look, is the size increasing as we are moving, or is the size decreasing?
So the width, oh my days, let me change the connection so that it doesn't do it again. I don't want it to do it again. Right, can you all see my screen? Now, right to say, the width of each bar, I'm going to be moving fast because we have to finish. The width of each bar represents the number of organisms. So this is a pyramid of number. So the width tells you the number. And put in brackets to say, not the size. For size, it will be pyramid of biomass. And not energy. Okay, not size, not energy. For energy, it will be pyramid of energy. Okay, so we just want to know what happens in the pyramid of number. Then we want to see what happens in the pyramid of biomass. Then we want to see what happens in the pyramid of energy. Okay? Right. Let's put an example. Example of a food chain. So we will first have a food chain. We will first have a food chain, then we will make a pyramid from it. Okay? So the food chain will be like this. Grass, then mouse, okay, to the mice, right? Then from there to owls. Right. Now what do we know? We know that there is, move with me, move fast, okay, right fast, because we have a target. We have so many things to learn, and we don't want to learn under pressure, so we want to do a lot of things right now. We know that we have lots and lots and lots of grass. There is grass everywhere. We have lots of grass. Then we have fewer mice. Okay? Mice are not as much as grass. Then we have actually very few owls. So here you can see that our pyramid of size is going to be, what happens? The bars are going to get smaller. So the widest bar should be the producer. So our producer is going to have the widest bar. You can write producer, which in this case it is the grass. Right? In this particular food chain, the producer, which is the grass, has the largest bar. Is it true? Has the widest bar. Does everybody agree with me? This is the producer. Then the next one is going to be smaller. It's not as wide. Okay? This is going to be the primary consumer in this particular food chain. The primary consumer, which is the mice. Then we're going to have our secondary consumer having a bar which is not as wide. This is going to be the secondary consumer. So this would be your pyramid of number. Are we together? We have created a pyramid shape. Right? Have you seen that? Yes. So, yes. Good. If you have, let's put another one. Example 2. Okay. Food chain number 2. This was this example for food chain. Then here, example 2 of a food chain. We want to see example 2 of a food chain. And we want to see its pyramid of number. Let's put, we can have oak tree, okay? And you have insects that eat that, okay? Insects that eat the oak tree. Then you have a woodpecker. I don't know if you know of a bird called a woodpecker. It goes to be hitting the wood. Now,
What do we know? What do we know?
we know
We know.
there is one very few oak trees. We don't have a lot of oak trees, very few oak trees, but
Then what do we have?
we have lots of insects. Then what else do we then have? We are going to have very few, okay, or you can say few woodpeckers. These birds, the woodpeckers, they are few.
But there are more than the oak trees.
Oak trees are not a lot. So in this one, our oak tree, which is the producer, is thin. So you have a thin first bar like this. Then the second bar is very wide. Then the third one is a little thinner. It's not as wide, it's a little smaller.
So this
Would be your producer. Okay, if you had to put it like this, you'd say this is the producer, the oak tree. Okay. Then here you have your primary consumer, the thing that eats the oak tree, which is insects. Then here you have your secondary consumer, which in this case is the woodpecker. Are we together? This case is the woodpecker. Questions?
Right. Now let's put the rules. I've given you examples. Now let's put the rules that you must remember when you are drawing pyramid of number. Okay? So
rules to remember. When drawing pyramid of numbers. A pyramid of numbers. Okay. A pyramid of numbers.
what do you mean when you say a pyramid of numbers? It's a pyramid that shows you the numbers.
Right. First, pyramids of numbers are not always pyramid shaped, just like we just saw. Okay, this is only going to apply to pyramid of numbers. Pyramid of numbers, the pyramid of numbers will not always be pyramid shaped. Take note of that, okay? The pyramid of numbers will not always be pyramid shaped. But don't try to make it pyramid shaped. Don't change the order. Don't change the trophic level to say you put producer on top of primary consumer. No. Okay? Are we together? Right. Rule 1 will be keep trophic levels in correct order. You don't change the trophic levels because one is more than the other. No. It's true. You could have one oak tree which has thousands of insects on it, which has a few woodpeckers on it. It's still fine. There'll be a very weird pyramid of numbers like this, but you're not going to change anything. So it doesn't always come out as a pyramid. but keep trophic levels in correct order. Number one, we must always see consumer at the bottom. Then we are going to see the producer at the bottom. We always want to see the producer at the bottom. Then we want to see the primary consumer next. Want to see the primary consumer. Then we want to see the secondary consumer. Don't change that order. Want to see the secondary consumer. Then we want to see, usually the secondary consumer is just a small animal that eats insects and stuff. Then we want to see a tertiary consumer, which is a larger animal, right? Tertiary consumer. Then if there is a quaternary, you can put it. But this is the order. Never mix the order. Never mix the order. Are we together? Rule number 2. Each bar must be labeled. Each bar must be labeled. You don't label with the animal, but with its trophic level. Each bar must be labeled with its trophic level. Is it the producer? Is it the primary consumer? Is it the secondary consumer? Label the bar using the trophic level. Are we together? Okay. Okay. Now, last rule. Rule 4, rule 3. If graph paper is given, I'll teach you this one. Then draw to scale. I'll teach you what I mean by draw to scale. Okay, you don't just draw haphazard things. You try to draw to scale. Are we together? Okay. Right. Now, NB. Write this. Just so that you know, we've already talked about it. I've already written the thing. But just say pyramids of numbers can be 1, normal, which is a normal pyramid, like this. 2, inverted. Okay, they can be inverted, which means you start small, then you get big. Then 3, they can be irregular or strange, where you have a small one, then a very, very wide one, then a bit of a smaller one. So this can happen. But I want you to know, you're done with the rules. Generally, pyramids of numbers get smaller as you move from trophic level to trophic level. Generally, we expect the numbers of things to get the size. We expect the numbers of things as you go up the food chain. Okay, from trophic level to trophic level, it means we can say up the food chain. As you go up the food chain, we expect the numbers to get smaller, to decrease. Okay. Are we together? So you can put in brackets to say, the higher the trophic level, usually, okay, this is usually true. The higher the trophic level, the fewer the organisms. Are we together? Reasons are organisms. I'm telling you, I'm already giving you a hint of the next pyramid you're about to get to. Organisms become larger. So when you get to the next pyramid, you're going to see it having a nice pattern. So here organisms become larger. Less energy is available. Oh, less energy is available. Yes. Here you are already seeing the pyramid of energy. It gets smaller. Of size, of biomass, it gets larger. And I want you to just say here, so fewer organisms can survive. Fewer organisms can survive. So this is what usually happens. Okay? Are we together? Organisms become larger with less energy, so less can survive. So we expect what? As you go up the food chain, we expect numbers to decrease. Okay? So we expect the numbers to decrease. We expect the width of the pyramid of numbers to get smaller and smaller. Can we go to the next thing? We're done here. Can I go to the next thing now? Let me write one last sentence which you can get. Reason why pyramids of numbers are not always pyramid shaped. They are not always pyramid shaped. In other words, they can have an irregular shape, just like the oak tree one we saw. The reason why the pyramids of numbers are not always pyramid shaped is that one huge producer, the reason that we don't always have them follow a pyramid is because one huge producer can support many small organisms. You're going to write this when the question comes. One huge producer can support many small organisms, so you don't always have a pyramid shape. Okay? One large producer can support many small consumers, if you want. One huge or large producer can support many small consumers. Are we done? Let's look at the second pyramid. Pyramid of biomass, which just means size. Pyramid of biomass. Biomass is the dry mass. Biomass is the dry mass of living material. Biomass is the dry mass of living material. Okay? Why do you say dry mass? You should not include water. Okay? Water is not included when you are checking the mass of something. We don't include the water inside of you or inside of an organism to tell its biomass. Why? Water is not included because water changes all the time and does not represent stored food energy. Are we together?
Right.
Now let's put just a few more. This is easy, okay? I just want you to know what happens to the shape. So it's not going to be too much. So, pyramids of biomass show the amount of living matter. They show the amount of living matter at each trophic level. Remember, we just want to know what happens when you come from trophic level to trophic level to trophic level in a food chain. So if it's biomass, we are saying how much of matter is in it, or the size of something. So we would be saying the amount of living matter at each trophic level. At each trophic level of a food chain. We know what trophic level is. When you come from producer to primary consumer to secondary consumer, what happens to the amount of matter inside? That is what they do. Now, what you must know about this type of pyramid is that pyramids of biomass are usually always pyramid shaped, unlike pyramids of number. This is a very important statement. Pyramids of biomass are usually always pyramid shaped. Oh, so they are pyramid shaped? Yes. So they decrease as you go up? Yes. So the biomass decreases as you go up? Yes. There is less material. There is less, not in numbers, but the amount of material inside the things. Okay? Are we together? So here I want you to write below it to say, why are they always pyramid shaped? Because biomass decreases up the food chain. Okay? There is less material. There is less living material at each trophic level. There is less at each trophic level. Living material at each trophic level. There is less of that. Example of food chain. Example of food chain. Grass, then you go to snail, then you go to thrush, then you go to maybe hawk. Okay, thrush is like just a bird, but it can be meat to a hawk. So,
Are you writing? Are you writing with me?
Yes. So, we know that naturally, because pyramid of once they say pyramid of biomass, we don't even want to know anything. We know what's going to happen there.
on the pyramid of biomass. We know that it's going to be pyramid shaped every day of the week, and it's going to be getting smaller as you go up, right?
So we could say, naturally, pyramid becomes smaller upwards. Okay? Why? Remember, because pyramids of biomass take into account the size, the amount of matter. So the size of organisms.
So if we are to put, what do we expect to see? Then I'll answer the question that maybe somebody has to say, sir, do you mean to tell me that when you say that the pyramid of biomass becomes smaller as you go up, do you mean to say that, and you said it takes into consideration the size, do you mean to tell me that the grass is bigger than snail? Because if we have a food chain which says grass, then snail, then thrush, which is a type of bird, then hawk, which eats it, are you telling me that grass is going to be larger than snail, which is going to be larger than thrush, which is going to be larger than hawk? Like, what really is biomass? I'll explain. But first, we are going to put the diagram
to say, okay, producer, which in this case is grass. Then you say primary consumer. Then you say secondary consumer. Okay? Which is here. At hawk, then we go to hawk, which is tertiary consumer.
Which is a hawk, right? So, what we'll be saying here, this representation does not say to you that when you take one blade of grass, it will be bigger than one snail. No! And we are also not saying that one snail is bigger than one bird. No! And we are also not saying one bird, this thrush, is bigger than one hawk. No! What we are talking about when we say biomass is the combined mass. The combined mass. When you take, let's say, an area, a field, you're going to have millions of blades of grass, millions, a lot of it, right? Then you're going to have a lot of snails, maybe several hundreds, 200. Then you're going to have 20 thrush birds, and you're going to have maybe one big hawk in that field. So if you see here, there's so much grass. We have a lot of grass. Okay? We have hundreds of snails. We have just a few thrush birds. And we have one hawk. So when we talk about mass, because there's so much grass, the total mass is greater than the total mass of the snails. The total mass of the snails will be greater than the total mass of the thrushes. The total mass of all the thrushes will be greater than one hawk. So the pyramid becomes narrower because the total dry mass of living things reduces as you go up the food chain. Are we together? Are we together? You may do your pyramid and it shows you, Hey, do a pyramid of mass, which is an elephant, say. You're doing an easy one. Do a pyramid of mass, which is an elephant. So you could put your tree. But you can see this one. This is the pyramid. It would come out pyramid of biomass for this. Even if it was to say you have your tree, whatever type of tree, which goes to elephant, which goes to whatever, eats it. Still, the tree is the one that has this. No, sir, you're not. That's not. Yes, one elephant could be bigger than the tree, but when you take a whole forest of trees, their total mass is more than all the elephants that are living there. Are we together? Hello? Are we together? Students, are we together? Can you hear me? What is it? Laura? Good. So what do we have here? We have lots of grass biomass, okay? From where? Like total mass. Because you have millions of grass blades, millions upon millions, okay, of grass blades. Then you're going to have your secondary consumer, which was, in this case, what is it? Snail. So you have less snail biomass. Then this one is thrush. Even less thrush bed biomass. Then you say even. Oh, sorry, I spinned it upside down. Oh, come on. I spinned it upside down. Sorry for that. I wanted to say lots of. How was I not saying? I hope I'm not sleepy, huh? From the projects that I've been doing with these guys. Lots of grass biomass. But it's done, huh? It's done. So there's a big relief. Then here it was snail. So we have less snail biomass. Then we have thrush bed, right? So it is even less thrush bed biomass. Then we have very little hawk. Could be one hawk in that area. Very little hawk. Are we together? Pyramid should naturally become smaller. Okay? Right. Now, write this. Pyramid of biomass is better than pyramid of numbers. It's better than pyramid of numbers. Let's put reasons, because Cambridge loves to question this. It loves this question. What are the advantages, reasons or advantages of pyramids of biomass over pyramids of numbers? Over pyramid of numbers. What is the advantage? Number one, when you do a pyramid of biomass, it considers the size. So you say pyramid of biomass considers biomass considers organism size. It considers the size. So when we are dealing with this and we are finding the total biomass, we'll also be looking at the size. Yes, you may have 10 grass blades, but remember, one big tree is more than that. So the biomass of the tree would still be larger. Okay? So when you're dealing with biomass, we are going to also consider the size. Are we looking at a tree or at an insect? Don't worry, things will make more sense. Number 2, pyramid of biomass. A pyramid of biomass shows actual, okay, let me say is more accurate, then I'll give you the reason. Is more accurate. Is more accurate. Okay, or it gives a more accurate picture. Why? Because they show, or it shows, the actual living material. When we ignore water and we look at the dry mass, we are looking at the things inside you that we count, the organisms inside you that are a part of you. And this is going to be important when we are now looking at energy. Because if I want to know the energy inside of you, if a lion is feeling hungry, what does it mean to say, oh, the lion is feeling hungry? It means the lion needs energy. So what will the lion do? It is going to kill something and eat it. Now, where will the lion get energy? From the water? From the blood? No. From what? From the flesh. When it eats the impala, when it's biting the meat, it's taking the energy in the meat. So the energy is not in the water. When we're talking about number, we are being generic. When we talk about biomass, we are not including water. We're talking about the dry mass. So that means it is a better representation of the energy inside you. You're going to see this when we talk about pyramids of energy. We are going to see that when you kill a chicken, for example, and you just eat the thigh and the, you eat the drumstick and the breast and the nice parts, and you throw away the intestines, you throw away the head, you throw away the legs. Those are organs. They had energy. So you are throwing away the energy that was inside that chicken. If you give it to a hungry person, they can survive because they are getting energy from those parts. So when we talk about biomass, biomass is things inside an organism that can store energy. The living things. So biomass is more accurate because it represents actual living material. The living material inside an organism. So that is the second reason. It is better than pyramid of numbers because the pyramid of biomass is more accurate. It shows the actual living material. When we say number, we are counting everything. We're just counting the whole thing, including the water inside it. Right. The other thing is that pyramid, the last one, pyramid of biomass, because we said it is more accurate, it can represent stored energy. Not the energy that will be transferred. When we do the pyramid of energy, it's going to be different from this because you see that a lot of energy will be lost when it is being transferred. But in the pyramid of biomass, it is representing the stored energy. When you have a larger biomass, you have a larger energy. You see, but you see something. We are not saying energy being moved on. When we start talking about energy from trophic level to trophic level, in a single food chain, then everything will change.
So, but here I want you to say more biomass usually means more available energy. Okay? What is biomass? The total dry mass. You take all the grass, not one. Don't you think we're talking about one? That's the temptation. Naturally, you are tempted to think that when we say biomass, when we are moving, we are talking about the size of one. We're not talking about one blade of grass. We are not talking about one snail. We are not talking about one thrush bird. We are not talking about one hawk. We're talking about the total mass of the hawks. Since we have millions of grass blades, that means the biomass of grass is more. Okay? And it keeps going like that. Great. Let's compare them. So before we talk about the last pyramid, let's put pyramid of number. Pyramid of numbers. Okay.
Which represents what? The numbers of organisms as you go from one trophic level to another trophic level. How many? We said it can be irregular, it can be regular shape, there can be many shapes, right? Depending on how many producers did you have versus how many primary consumers did you have versus how many secondary consumers did you have. It's about numbers of things.
Pyramid of numbers. Then here, pyramid. Okay, I need to be done in 20 minutes. Pyramid of biomass. So I'll be done just now. Let me put energy. Let me put more speed. Okay. Let me put more speed here. Because, which means we need 3 lessons to finish this, because I need to teach you cycles. So here, pyramid of numbers, it shows the number of organisms. Pyramid of biomass, it shows mass of living material. Pyramid of number can be irregular. Pyramid of biomass, it's usually always pyramid shaped. Okay. All the time. Here does not consider size. We are just talking about the number of things here. Nothing to do with size. Here, it considers the size. Then here, this is less accurate. Then here, this is more accurate. Are we together? If the exam asks you, which pyramid is more accurate? Pyramid of biomass. Why? Because it considers the size of organisms. Okay? Because if they ask you why are they more accurate, here is the reason. They take size into account. Okay? Biomass, what does it mean? The mass of living material in an organism. Usually what? Usually dry mass. Now, last pyramid. We'll see example questions. Last pyramid is the pyramid of energy. Pyramid of energy. This is the last one. pyramid of energy. Right. What do arrows represent? On a food chain, what do arrows represent when you put arrows like this? Grass to snail to... Are they showing you who eats who? No. They show you direction of energy transfer. Because if they were showing you who eats who, they would come from snail to grass. And you get a 0 if you do that. If you say snail eats grass, then you point like this, you get a big 0. You should show the direction in which energy moves. And we know that energy, the original source is the sun. Comes from the sun, then it starts to move like that. So here you should show it is trapped by producers, which is in this case grass. Then it can move to snail, thrush, what. Great. So when you're talking now about this, you should say, when organisms eat each other, we know that energy is transferred. So we are going to be doing the pyramid of energy. But I want to give you a small background. Let's put this background information, okay? If we are done with these pyramids, we are just left with understanding 2 cycles and the word population, and you're done. So you need to understand 2 cycles, the carbon cycle, the nitrogen cycle. Then you understand the word population, then you're done with this chapter. We'll go straight to the next one. Right. So, and I'll be giving you questions, of course, at the end of this chapter. We'll see, weekend is almost here, so we have to do a lot of questions over the weekend, although it's going to be taken up by a lot of physics that we'll be catching up. Anyway, here's the background. When organisms eat, okay, when organisms, you included, eat, energy is transferred. So we don't expect you to have energy if you haven't eaten, because this is not abracadabra. You get energy from eating. So energy is transferred when organisms are eating each other, right? It is transferred, right? Energy is transferred from one trophic level to the next. Okay, from one trophic level to the next. But I want everybody to know this. Energy transfer. Listen. Energy transfer is not efficient. Energy transfer is not efficient. In brackets, you say, a lot of energy is lost. So when one organism eats the other, it is getting energy from what it's eating. But let me tell you the truth. Only about 10% of the energy that was inside the chicken will come into you. What? Really? Yes. So the original amount of energy that was in the chicken, 90% of it is lost? Yes. And in the next chapter of ecology, you see how this is important. Wow. What? Yes. A lot of energy is lost. So I want you to put here to say, only about 10% of energy passes to the next trophic level. So only about 10% of the energy that was in the grass that the cow was eating, only about 10% of it went into the cow. Then only about 10% of the energy in the cow goes into you. Yes, you are eating the meat,
But you're only going to get 10% of the energy that was in that cow, my friend. About 90% is lost. So 10% of what was in the grass goes into the cow. Then only 10% of what is in the cow will go into the person. So a lot of energy that was in the grass is lost when it goes into the cow. The cow only has very little compared to what was in the grass. Then you actually have very little compared to what was in the cow. So about 90% of energy is lost as you move from one trophic level to the next. Let's put an example before we give you reasons. Example. If the producer had 10,000 joules of energy. So if we had to show it, we would say if the producer had 10,000, then primary consumer will only have 10%. Primary consumers get 10% of 10,000, which is 1,000 joules. Here it had 10,000. This will only have 1,000 joules. Okay? Secondary consumers get 10% of 1,000, okay? Of 1,000, because this was what was in primary, and it's what comes here, and you only get 100 joules in the secondary consumer. And yet the producer had 10,000, yes. And yet the secondary consumer has only 100, yes. There is a massive decrease. Only 10% moves from one trophic level to the next. Only 10% moves from one trophic level to the next. Do you hear me? So you write tertiary consumers who are only having 12 minutes left get 10% of 100 joules, okay? Which will be 10 joules, tertiary consumers. So you can see that there is a massive decrease, right? This is important. This is extremely important. So there is a massive decrease in energy from one trophic level to the next. Okay? So already people know that your pyramid of energy will be getting very thin as you go up, because the energy decreases as you go up the food chain. Now let's see reasons. Reasons? Let's see the reasons why energy is lost. Why is it that so much of the energy that was in the cow will not come into the human? Why? Okay. One is because, reason one, say heat loss, okay, through respiration.
Heat loss because of respiration. Okay? And right below to say all living organisms, respire. To respire is to get energy from the food they ate. So, for you to get energy from the food you ate, there's going to be respiration. You don't chew, then energy goes into your teeth and your nose and your eyes just from chewing. Come on now. You know better than that. There is a process to this. You're going to eat and digest before you can get that energy. Then, when you've gone through that whole process of digestion, which has, we know the digestive system has 11 parts. 7 parts of the digestive system are part of the tube which starts at the mouth and ends at the anus, which is called the alimentary canal. Alimentary canal is a big tube which starts at the mouth and ends at the anus, which has 7 parts. Mouth, gullet or esophagus, then stomach, then small intestines. You have the duodenum and ileum, then you have the large intestines, then you have the colon, then you have the rectum, then you have the anus. You have 7 parts. Then you have 4 other things which are called accessory organs. The liver, which produces bile. You have a lot of things. This is all part of the pancreas. The pancreas. You should know all these. They are called accessory organs. In other words, food that does not pass through them, but they are also part of digestion. But food does not pass through them. All these 11 are part of the digestive system. This whole process of digestion will happen. And the process of digestion, we know that it has many parts. You have ingestion, then you have physical digestion, you have chemical digestion, you have absorption, then you have assimilation, then you have egestion. But when you're talking about when you have eaten, we're not talking about that chapter right now. But after eating, and the food now has gone through that whole process of digestion, it is now going to be absorbed. All the important nutrients. We know that we have 7 nutrients that make a balanced diet. All those nutrients are taken, that the body wants, are taken up. When they are taken up, you have respiration now. The glucose going there. Then you have respiration. Glucose is the one which goes to your cells, and they do respiration, converting it to energy. Now that respiration is not effective. A lot of the food you ate actually will not be converted into energy. Some will go out as feces and all these other things that are going to happen. And respiration, whilst it is happening, it is going to be producing heat. And if respiration, what is respiration? We are converting food to energy. And as we are converting the food to energy, if we are producing heat, it means we are losing some energy. As heat, whenever there is heat, don't celebrate. Whenever there is heat during a reaction, it tells you that energy is being lost. When you go to a very expensive car, you should hold the engine. It mustn't be very hot. Cheaper cars are the ones that when you open the bonnet after a journey, hey, that engine is very hot because they are not efficient. Heat is loss of energy. So here, respiration, all living organisms respire. We want to see, where does energy get lost in this whole process for us to only get 10% of the food we ate? Where does it go? Respiration. Heat loss through respiration. Respiration releases heat energy. Respiration, as it is happening, it releases heat energy. And this heat, that heat from respiration, escapes into the environment. It escapes into the environment that is being produced. That's loss. That is loss. Oh, so heat loss through respiration is one reason why only 10% of the energy in the food I eat becomes mine. The rest is lost. The energy that was not in just in the food, but that was in the animal you ate. Now, reason number 2. Because let me make this make more sense. It's not really like we are not really saying that only 10% of the food that you eat is going to be energy. Not only that. What we are actually saying is that only 10% of the energy that came from grass to cow. So the cow is going to go and eat grass. When the cow eats grass, it is going to get 1,000 joules. Oh, we expect to get that 1,000. The cow has that 1,000 that it got from grass. But that cow, before you eat it, will also waste. Because when the cow eats grass, it doesn't just wait for you to kill it so that it gives you all the energy it got. No, it's going to start moving around, walking around, making sounds. Moo. All those things it's doing, it is using the energy it got from the grass. So that energy that has been coming from the grass will not directly get to you. Some is lost in that animal. So the reason number 2 is movement. Before one animal eats another, there's going to be movement. The energy that is being used for movement is not going to be passed on. It is not going to come from one trophic level to the next. It's lost. So even if you're a lion, you chase that buffalo, you kill it and eat it. But guess what? Whilst you were chasing it, it was losing energy. So it is not going to give you all the energy it had. It lost some. So, right to say, animals use energy. Do you understand? To move. Whether it is to run or to walk or whatever, animals use energy to do that. And I want you to write here to say, energy used for movement is not passed on. Energy that is used for movement is not, forget. Energy that is used for movement is not passed on. Oh, I wanted all the energy that was in the grass. I'm sorry, my friend. The cow used some of it to move. So you are not going to get that 10,000 that was in the grass, in the producer. I'm sorry, too late. Reason 3. What is the other reason why we are not going to get all the energy? Is excretion. Oh, really? Yes. Because guess what? If you go to see cow dung, the feces of a cow are green. They have some grass in it. So the cow is not going to take up everything that was in the grass. It is going to have some of those things leave its body. It will just, those things will just move through the alimentary canal. They'll be just sliding. Oh, now they are in the stomach. Oh, now they are in the small intestine. Now it's in the large. Oh, now it goes down until it is released out. And that food that leaves the body is energy leaving the body of the cow. So energy will be lost from the food chain. It can now move from cow to the next animal because the cow lost some is feces or urine. So right to say excretion. Some energy leaves the body. You know that when you eat food, you are going to need to use the restroom because some of the food is going to be converted to feces. So some energy leaves the body in urine and feces. This is feces. That's how you spell it. You spell it as feces. This energy is lost from the food chain. It is lost from the food chain. Last reason. I'll give you number 4. Take it as the last one, okay? We'll continue from there in the next lesson. This is the last one. Reason, we did reason 3, okay? So let's do reason 4. Reason 4 why only 10% moves is that not everything is eaten. Not everything is eaten. Oh, what do you mean? Consumers, like a person or anything, they don't usually eat every part. Do you eat the horns of a cow? Do you eat the horns of a cow? Are you going to start cutting the horns of a cow and eating? Are you going to do that? No. Are you going to eat the tail? Oh, oxtail is actually nice, so maybe yes, you eat the tail. But are you going to eat the skin? No. Are you going to eat the hoofs? No. Are you going to eat the genitals? No. Are you going to eat certain things that you're not going to eat? The eyes? No. Are you going to eat the nose? No. Are you going to eat the ears? No. Are you going to eat the head? Certain parts of the head, not everything. If you eat, that is if you eat the head. Are you going to eat, so not the whole organism is eaten by consumers. So that means energy in the parts that were not eaten is not going to be passed on in the food chain. It is not going to be transferred. So right to say, consumers often do not, even if you want, it's impossible, do not eat the whole organism. Do not eat the whole organism. Okay. Example, you don't eat bones, okay? You may just chew a few of them, but examples of parts that are not eaten: bones, okay? Horns, etc., skin. So what we now say, eyes, nose, okay? Although some consumers do eat it. So energy, right? You say, so energy is, or energy in those parts is not transferred. Are we together? Right. We'll continue from here in the next one. We'll just draw the energy pyramid, which is easy. You already know what it is. It gets thinner as you go up. It's not as wide. Now we're going to do our cycles in the next lesson. We do the nutrient cycles. Here we are studying loss. In this last pyramid, we were studying loss of energy. That was the main thing we were studying, to say energy is lost. But now, energy is lost, but there is one thing which is not lost, and that is nutrients. Nutrients just move from one organism to another. Like carbon, we're going to see how does carbon stay on planet Earth. How do we have carbon staying? It just comes from one part to another organism. It is carbon in the atmosphere, then it becomes carbon inside of you, then it becomes carbon in the soil, then it becomes carbon in different things. But it will always be there as carbon. So carbon will always be recycled. So we'll do 2 nutrient cycles to study things that will always be around.
They'll be just being passed from one organism to another. Carbon and nitrogen. We'll study them. Okay? Then we'll see. Then you'll be done. You'll be done with this. So we'll do the nutrient cycles and population. And you're done with this chapter. We have to do those things in the next lesson. So you come geared up. You come early. And we have to finish this. Okay? Are we together? Are we together? Okay. I'm going to give you the submission link for this so that you show me your notes so that I see if you are writing. So I follow you up. Well done, everybody. Well done, well done, well done. This is the end of bio.